Hola and welcome to another Amelia Rose healing video here on YouTube. I'm your host Amelia Rose, aka the spiritual therapist, and today we will be talking about why I will never eat meat again. So before we get started, I wanted to do things a little different. Y'all tell me if y'all like this little segment. I just want to pull out some cards. This video is going to be relatively short, so I said why not just pull out some cards. I do have words of affirmation cards that I meant to bring with me, but I guess Spirit didn't want me to bring it. All right, so we actually have 3 cards that came out, so I will read all 3. The first card says, I remember. Soul plan. The fated life versus the destiny life. This is what the card looks like. Here it says, there was a moment before you were born when you chose the conditions of the life you're living right now. When you plotted out these exact moments along the timeline of your life. We live in a world of free will, and therefore, these moments become our destiny only through saying yes. The fated life is the one we were born into. The destiny life is the one our soul chooses, and it takes courage and faith. If you pull this card, it's because you're likely now face to face with the choice to follow the destiny life over the fated life. To trust the path your soul is calling you toward. And remember that this moment was prearranged on your life's timeline. You may find yourself at a crossroads, at a moment when you're being called to make a decision, to keep walking the perfectly laid out path before you, or choose the one less traveled. You may be facing a change of career, a new relationship, a difficult decision, or something else that requires courage and faith. You're being invited to remember your soul's greater plan and to surrender to it. When you're confronted with a path that's undefined, it's normal for doubt to rear its head. In fact, this is a certain sign that you're facing your soul's greater plan. Every hero in his or her life journey comes eye to eye with doubt. The only way around it is through it. It's all part of a larger plan. What are you being called to do to surrender to your soul's plan? That was the first card. The second one says, I'm sorry. Defenselessness. Riding past wrongs. Uprooting. This is what the card looks like. Girl. WTF. I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry. We're living in divisive times. When you're hurt or triggered, we tend to see things as a personal attack rather than an opportunity for healing. If we're to find true peace and unity, we need to drop our defenses and see things outside of right and wrong. As souls, we intrinsically remember unity and yearn for it here on earth. Perhaps this is why it feels so painful when we experience the opposite. But it's crucial to remember that we can't simply bypass reality and pretend that unity, love, and forgiveness are here. This is one of the greatest challenges for starseeds. To bring about unity, we must first acknowledge the ways in which both we and the world have been divisive, personally, ancestrally, and collectively. The shadows, hate, wounds, separation, severing, wrongs, and sadness. You may be called to explore how you, your ancestors, or your society have, consciously or unconsciously, inflicted pain on others. To find a way to drop the armor around your heart and see things as they truly are for all people. To say I'm sorry with an open heart and mean it. to be part of the healing rather than the perpetuation of inherited conflict or oppression. This isn't about blame, it's about unwinding the pattern that got us here. You may be called to devote your time to causes you believe in or doing healing work on your ancestral line. How are you being called to drop your defenses and unwind past wrongs? That one was deep. I don't know who that was for, but honey. And the last card. So silly. It says, Inner Earth. You'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. I love it. This is the card. Look how beautiful that card is. It says you'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. Inner Earth, also known as Agartha, is believed to be a hidden subterranean world within the planet itself. Many ancient cultures mention it in their stories. It's said that some of the beings of ancient lost lands, such as Lemuria, Atlantis, Aryavarta, went there. Hindu and Celtic lore mentions caves and entrances to underground worlds. Tibetan Buddhism refers to the secret mystical city Shambhala, which is thought to be located in the Himalayas. Many have searched for inner earth in the physical world, but without success. So the mystery continues. Is it a place that exists in the physical or on the level of consciousness? There are solutions beyond what you can perceive. Surprise outcomes to your problems and situations. Resolutions that are in the best interest of all involved. If you find yourself facing an obstacle or being stuck and have no idea what to do, you're being reassured that this is a way out. There is a way out. You'll survive this and things will work out. If you're stuck in a rut, do something to shake up the energy and shift your thinking. Try something you normally wouldn't do. Soon, you'll see that whole new world of solutions are available. Things that are previously beyond your focus will present themselves. Helpful people, signs from the universe, and support in both expected and unexpected ways are on their way to you. But first, you need to do something different to shift your focus so you can receive them. What can you do to shift your energy or your outlook? Amen Ashe. Wow, this relates to the video that was just released, or that will be released to you before you see this one. I'm gonna link it up here somewhere, about how to manifest quicker. And the fastest way for you to manifest is to get into the vibration of what it is you want. You should watch that video. I like that little segment. I don't know about you guys, but I needed to hear all three of the messages. So I want to go ahead and talk about why I will never eat meat again. So as a Black Caribbean woman, my father is Black American, my mother is Dominican, from the Dominican Republic. I have eaten meat my whole life. With my dad, we've always only eaten white meat. So this includes turkey, fish, and chicken. He's never really given us red meat. And yet on my mom's side, would give us any type of meat. We ate pork. We didn't eat too much, but we did eat it. We ate beef. We ate chicken. Shit, we even ate liver. So, you know, I've always eaten meat my whole life. Now, when I was younger, I wanted to become vegetarian. I asked my father if I could become vegetarian. He wouldn't let me. He had asked his pastor. His pastor said it wouldn't be a good idea only because of the nutrients that meat has, and blah blah blah. So I was just like, okay. I wanted to do it because I felt bad for the animals. I still continued to eat meat throughout the years that have passed. 2015, when I had attended school, well, I was at Rutgers. I had just graduated community college and I went straight to university. My major was, I changed my major 3 times. But my major at the time, no, I think this was my minor. Yeah, my minor at the time was sociology, which I ended up changing to, no. Yeah, I ended up changing that to my major actually. But my minor at the time was sociology. For sociology, we had to take a sociology of economy class as a core requirement. I took the course, and the course was basically teaching us how this country makes money. So the main way that this country makes money is through food. I could go in detail about the food industry and how it controls pretty much everything in our life, including media, including our health and the sort, but I won't. With that being said, we had to read books and we had to view movies, video clips on how this country prepares our food and also how other countries prepare their food. The cleanest food processing I've witnessed is in the Netherlands. Just the way Europe makes their food is completely different. I know that being a Caribbean person, because our food is fresh, but seeing other countries, like countries in Europe such as like the Netherlands, and how they make their food compared to how we make our food, disgusting. When I was in community college, I had read this book called Food Inc., which was a really good book. It spoke about the food industry as well. But while I took this course, I also had to take another course at Rutgers during my first semester. It was, what was it? A human sexuality course. And in one of the segments, we had to compare human trafficking and animal trafficking, which relates back to our food industry. All of it just disgusted the fuck out of me. I couldn't stomach the thought of eating meat. It's been over 6 years since I've eaten meat. I always say these two things: if I ever eat meat again, it's because I'm either pregnant and my baby needs it, or if it's in another country, because America's disgusting. America's the ghetto, it's the slums. Quote me on that. And by America, I mean the United States of America, North America. The reason why I would never eat meat again, not only is because it's just disgusting and isn't good for our body here in America. Also, it may differ if you have your own farm and you're slaughtering them your own way. Different. Now, talking in a mass consumer way of consuming food, that's different. I would never eat fast food. I stopped eating fast food in freaking, I don't know, I think high school. McDonald's, Wendy's, all of that crap is disgusting. It's not even real food, it's just pink goop that's molded to look like food. My body doesn't like it. The hormones that is pumped into our meat fucks with my emotions. It makes me depressed. It gives me anxiety. So not only are the hormones doing this to me, we also, speaking in a spiritual sense, I am literally ingesting this meat from an animal that was anxious and depressed because these cows are literally standing in filth and shit, hearing other animals being slaughtered, waiting on a line to be slaughtered. All of that anxiety and that depression, I was literally eating it. My body just could not handle it. As soon as I stopped eating meat, before, when I was eating meat, I was on antidepressants and I was on anti-anxiety medication and I was going to therapy. As soon as I stopped, I no longer needed the therapy. I was still utilizing the tips that were given to me during my therapy sessions. It's just there wasn't a need for me to go anymore because I knew how to control my emotions. They weren't as intense. I was also on mood stabilizers as well, because eventually the anti-anxiety medication, the way that the medication was working was that it was helping with my depression, but it wasn't working with my mania and my anxiety. So they had to put me on lithium, which is a type of mood stabilizer, so that I can calm down. Hated it, felt like a zombie. It was the worst experience on earth because I had social anxiety, I had OCD anxiety. On top of that, I was manic depressive. I had a lot going on. As soon as I stopped eating meat, all of that went away. Don't get me wrong, I still feel sad, I still feel anxious. I mean, that's normal. That's a normal human thing. It wasn't as intense as it was before. I didn't feel it like I was gonna die, because that's how intense it was. I felt like I was freaking dying sometimes. Panic attacks are not fun. Manic episodes are not fun. Depressive episodes are not fun. So the fact that not eating meat liberated me from this, why the fuck would I eat meat again? Not to mention, it helped my skin out OD. I used to suffer from really terrible body acne, not only as a teen but as a preteen. As soon as I hit puberty, it was terrible. I didn't care, but my mom pointed it out to me at like any time that any chance that she had. She pointed it out to me, only because on both sides of the family nobody suffered from body acne. I was literally the only one. Everyone has beautiful skin in both sides of my family, so it was kind of like, well, what the fuck is this? As soon as I stopped eating meat, child, that went away. Why would I eat meat again? And TBH, being that I was so accustomed to the type of diet my father had us in, with every meal we had to eat 5 vegetables and a salad. So I was already accustomed to eating veggies. I loved veggies. It was kind of like I just had to not eat the meat, which wasn't really that much of a big deal for me. When I stopped eating meat, I was pescatarian at first. Now, if you didn't know, there are different sects of vegetarianism. So you have paleo vegetarian, you have pescatarian. There's like different types. The type of vegetarian I was I ate seafood and I ate fish. Now, with enough research, I found out you're not supposed to have fish and seafood every single day. So I was like, all right, well, I can do without this. It's not a big deal. Stopped eating it, or at first I slowed down on it and I would only eat it every now and then throughout the week. Eventually I found myself not eating it and I was like, oh, I could do this, not a big deal, whatever. And yeah, I just stopped eating it altogether. But the thing about vegetarianism, the food is so flavorful. This was back in 2015, before it was like the thing to be vegan. Would I ever become vegan? There was a point in my life where I was vegan at home because I was able to cook and control what it was that I ate. But it would probably be a little bit easier now to be vegan because there's so many choices. It's become more popularized to eat in this type of dietary fashion, but even so, it's still hard to find things. For example, in New Jersey, you have to go to certain cities in order to find healthy food. There are some cities where it's like you don't come across salad bars, or you don't come across vegan only restaurants. There are some cities that have an abundance of these options. Same thing in New York. A lot of people think that there's so many options for being vegetarian. No. Living in the Bronx, I didn't really come across too many vegan options. You had a couple of all vegan options in Harlem. You had a couple in the Bronx. They were like hidden gems. And then there was of course that vegan castle, I think it's called, in Queens. But the majority of the options are in Manhattan and Midtown, where you can't find parking. So it was like, you would think that New York had a lot of options too. Not really. So I mean, it would have to depend on where you live. You may be able to find a lot of vegan options. It's just too hard to be vegan, in my opinion, because everything has milk in it. That's why I would say, like, at home I would be vegan, but in the streets I'm vegetarian, because it's hard to find things that don't have cheese or that don't have milk in this country. I do appreciate the fact that a lot of places now have milk substitutes, such as almond milk and oat milk. I grew up on soy milk, so my dad, and he made it abundantly clear he didn't want us drinking cow milk. We drank soy milk. Now that I'm older, I know that soy milk isn't the best for women. However, at the time, the information wasn't out. So yeah, now I stay away from soy milk. But a couple of years ago, my dad put me onto oat milk, which was like the truth. And now everybody's onto oat milk, so you can find the substitutes out there. Almond milk, I absolutely love almond milk. Terrible for the environment, but it's literally just water and crushed almonds, so it's good to drink as well. Anything else I want to talk about? This wasn't planned at all. You know, usually I have everything written out. I just thought that I'd go with the flow today. Oh, and my weight. I also was able to gain weight. I've always been underweight my whole life until I stopped eating meat. Oh my goodness. My body was able to finally be regulated, and could be because of all of the carbs I was eating, because I was so hungry. Do keep in mind that if you do decide to become vegetarian, it takes forever for your body to process and break those red meats down. So if your body isn't taking up all this energy to break all of that down, you're gonna find yourself with more energy. You're gonna find yourself hungry more, because your body is processing these other foods more easily, as opposed to taking forever to break down the red meat, which is still sitting in your stomach, which means you're gonna be full for longer periods of time. So you may gain weight. Some people lose weight. It really also depends on your diet. Just because you're vegetarian or vegan doesn't mean that you eat healthy. A lot of vegetarians and vegans do not eat healthy. They eat stuff that still has a lot of sugar, a lot of fried things. I'm good on the meat substitutes. I'm really not big on it. It just kind of weirds me out and grosses me out. I know y'all say it's plant-based, but I be looking at it looks funny. I'm good on it. I don't need to eat meat or a meat substitute in order for me to enjoy my meal. I can literally just eat vegetables as my main course, with like a little bit of starch or whatever. and I'll be fine. So do keep that in mind as well. Also, you have to make sure you're eating a well-rounded meal, because if not, then you may miss out on nutrients that you need. Taking a multivitamin is cool. I'm not the type of person, I mean, I'll take multivitamins here and there. I'm not big on taking pills and stuff. I'm one of those who like to eat and drink my nutrients as opposed to taking it in a pill form. That's just me. I don't know. Yeah, it may not be for everybody, but I hope that maybe I could have convinced you to at least try it, or start off being polio like my dad was. So what polio means is eating only chicken, you know, birds, chicken, turkey, duck as your meat source. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. Have a good one though.